In this video, we'll be taking a look at 3 NBA games happening on December 26, 2024, and providing you with free team picks and total picks for each one of those games, so 6 picks in total. Welcome back to Cash Out Sports. Let's dive right into it. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and to click the bell icon to get notified as soon as these videos get released, so that you have more time to plan out your bets as we provide these videos on a daily basis. I can guarantee that you'll have all the important information that you'll need on these 3 NBA games after fully watching this video. One more thing before we start. If you would like to gain access to our best exclusive sports picks to take your journey to the next level, then check out our Patreon in the link down below, where we offer our best single picks, parlay picks, and much more. Now let's get started. Chicago Bulls versus Atlanta Hawks. A pair of Eastern Conference teams aiming to improve their standings in the playoff race will square off in a pivotal matchup in Atlanta. The Chicago Bulls hit the road to face the Atlanta Hawks on Thursday night in what promises to be an intriguing clash. The Bulls are coming off a disheartening 112-91 loss at home against the Milwaukee Bucks on Monday night, where they failed to cover as 2.5-point favorites. Meanwhile, the Hawks secured a solid 117-104 home victory over the Minnesota Timberwolves on Monday, triumphing outright as 3-point underdogs. Historically, the Bulls hold a 141-120 advantage in the all-time regular season series between these franchises and have dominated both meetings this season, including a convincing 136-122 win at home on November 22nd. Chicago will likely be without Josh Giddey, while Lonzo Ball's availability remains uncertain due to illness. Similarly, Atlanta continues to deal with absences, as Bogdan Bogdanovic and Trae Young are both questionable for this contest. Offensive struggles have plagued the Bulls in their last 2 outings, where they managed only 91 and 98 points against the Bucks and Celtics, respectively. However, they might find relief against an Atlanta squad they have bested twice this season, with commanding victories of 136-122 and 125-113. The Bulls have performed well in this matchup recently, boasting a 5-1 record both straight up and against the spread in their last 6 meetings. They have also covered the spread in 5 of their last 6 trips to Atlanta. However, rumors of a potential Zach LaVine trade have intensified, potentially impacting his recent performances, where he has scored 14, and 13 points in 3 of his last 4 games. The Hawks, on the other hand, have seen their strong 6-game win streak from late November into early December dissipate, managing just 2 wins in their last 6 outings. This slide has left them with a .500 record at 15-15, which is an improvement over last season but still likely below their expectations. Trae Young's name has also surfaced in trade speculation, though it would take a substantial offer for the Hawks to part ways with their franchise player. Despite their potential, Atlanta has been inconsistent, with a lackluster 12-18 against the spread record this season. The Bulls, by contrast, have found most of their success on the road, with 9 of their 13 victories coming away from home, including their 2 wins over Atlanta in November. Given the Hawks' struggles as significant favorites, the Chicago Bulls to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. Both teams rank among the league's fastest in terms of pace, with Chicago sitting second and Atlanta third in possessions per game. However, their offensive output has cooled off significantly in recent contests. Over their last 5 games, the Hawks have averaged just 106 points per 100 possessions, while the Bulls have fared even worse at 104 points. The under has hit in 5 of Chicago's last 6 games and in Atlanta's last 5 matchups against Eastern Conference opponents. Entering Wednesday, Chicago had seen the over cash in 16 of their 30 games, though they are 17th in turnovers per game at 15.1 and maintain their fast tempo with 103.9 possessions per game. Atlanta, meanwhile, has gone over in 19 of their 30 games, despite committing the 3rd most turnovers in the league and averaging 103.6 possessions per contest. While both teams are capable of scoring and have defensive vulnerabilities, the injuries on both sides and recent offensive struggles suggest a low-scoring affair in this one. Under the projected total is our full game total pick. Toronto Raptors versus Memphis Grizzlies. The Toronto Raptors, holding a disappointing 7-23 record, aim to break their 3-game losing streak on the road when they visit the Memphis Grizzlies, who boast an impressive 20-10 record. On Thursday night, the contest is set to take place at FedEx Forum, a venue where the Grizzlies have recently thrived. In their most recent outing, the Raptors suffered a 139-125 loss to the New York Knicks, failing to cover the 13.5-point spread as underdogs. Meanwhile, the Grizzlies narrowly lost 114-110 to the Los Angeles Clippers, despite being 6-point favorites heading into that game. Toronto holds a slight edge in their last 10 matchups against Memphis, going 6-4 during that span, but recent trends favor the home team. Both teams are dealing with injury concerns. The Raptors remain without Bruce Brown and Jakob Poeltl, while the Grizzlies continue to monitor the statuses of Marcus Smart and Jay Huff. Memphis has been particularly dominant at home, winning 9 of their last 10 games at FedEx Forum, whereas Toronto has been in a prolonged slump, dropping 8 consecutive games overall. Offensively, Memphis has a clear advantage, shooting over 48% from the field and an impressive 47% from three-point range in their last 3 games. In contrast, the Raptors have struggled, shooting just 46% from the field and 37% from beyond the arc over the same stretch. Memphis has also been more efficient at the free throw line, converting over 77% of their attempts at home compared to Toronto's 71% on the road. Another factor favoring the Grizzlies is their ability to capitalize on second-chance opportunities, as they average more than 12 offensive rebounds per game at home. This complements their unselfish ball movement and high offensive output. Meanwhile, Toronto's defense has been subpar, allowing opponents to score more than 116 points per game on the road, which sets the stage for Memphis to dominate offensively. The Raptors' recent defensive woes and inconsistent shooting further tilt the odds in favor of the Grizzlies, making this an ideal matchup for Memphis to win and cover the spread. Despite Toronto's respectable 8-6 record against the spread as road underdogs this season, Memphis has excelled with a 10-5 against the spread record as home favorites. Both teams have been strong against the spread throughout the season, with Toronto holding a 19-10-1 against the spread record and Memphis at 20-10 against the spread. However, Toronto's abysmal 1-13 straight-up record on the road is a glaring weakness, while Memphis has secured 13 of their 20 wins at home. Given these trends, the Grizzlies' status as heavy favorites is justified. The Raptors' ongoing struggles, including an 8-game losing streak, further solidify the case for Memphis to win decisively. A blowout seems more probable than a competitive game, making Memphis to win and cover the spread the best choice for this matchup. Scoring trends also point toward a high-scoring affair. Toronto has hit the over in 3 of their last 4 games, while Memphis has done so in 4 of their last 7. The Raptors average 112 points per game and play at the 6th fastest pace in the league, with 104.6 possessions per game. On the other hand, Memphis leads the NBA in pace, averaging 108.8 possessions per game and scores 123 points per contest. Both teams face defensively vulnerable opponents, with Toronto surrendering 117 points per game on the road and Memphis allowing 113 points per game overall. This season, Toronto is 15-15 in hitting the over, while Memphis has achieved this in 18 of their 30 games. With both teams playing at an accelerated tempo, Toronto ranking 6th and Memphis 1st in pace, a fast-paced game is expected, leading to a high-scoring contest. Memphis is likely to score at will, while Toronto should contribute enough offensively to push the total score beyond the projected line. Therefore, over the projected total is our full game total pick. Houston Rockets versus New Orleans Pelicans. The NBA's Thursday night lineup features an intriguing matchup as the Houston Rockets visit the New Orleans Pelicans. Houston enters this contest with a solid record of 20-9 straight up and an impressive 18-11 against the spread. The Rockets demonstrated their strength on Monday with a decisive 114-101 victory over the Charlotte Hornets, comfortably covering the -6 spread as road favorites. Meanwhile, New Orleans continues to struggle this season, holding a dismal 5-25 straight-up record and a subpar 11-19 against the spread mark. Their most recent game, a 132-129 overtime loss to the Denver Nuggets on Sunday, saw them perform admirably as +8.5 underdogs at home, though they fell short in the end. Houston's roster remains under observation for potential updates, with key players Tari Eason and Dillon Brooks listed as day-to-day. Conversely, the Pelicans are significantly hampered by injuries, with stars Brandon Ingram, Zion Williamson, and Jose Alvarado all still sidelined. The Rockets capitalized on these absences in their last meeting against New Orleans, shooting an impressive 57.5% from the field to secure a commanding 20-point victory. Houston's potent defense is a force to reckon with, and when paired with such efficient shooting, they are a tough team to beat. Even if their shots don't fall at the same clip this time, their dominance on the offensive boards is expected to overpower New Orleans' struggling defensive rebounding unit. On the defensive end, the Pelicans face an uphill battle. A depleted lineup that ranks 29th in offensive rating will have to contend with a Houston defense that sits second in the league by the same measure. The disparity in form and depth between these two teams was evident in their recent encounter, where the Rockets emerged victorious as 9.5-point favorites, reinforcing the idea that these franchises are on entirely different trajectories. The Pelicans season continues to be derailed by the absence of Zion Williamson, who has only appeared in 6 games. With no clear leader stepping up in his stead, New Orleans has struggled to find its footing. Meanwhile, Houston's high-powered offense is poised to overwhelm a Pelicans defense that has allowed 119 or more points in 7 of their last 9 games. The Rockets boast an array of offensive weapons and one of the league's top scoring defenses, making them a daunting opponent for New Orleans, the NBA's lowest scoring team. Houston's performance on the road has been reliable, as evidenced by their 8-6 against the spread record, whereas New Orleans has faltered, going 1-3 against the spread over their last 4 games. Houston's consistent ability to cover spreads, boasting a 62% cover percentage, the 5th best in the league, underscores their dominance, while New Orleans continues to underperform with an 11-19 against the spread record, even as consistent underdogs. Adding to their woes, the Pelicans suffered a 20-point defeat to the same Rockets team just last week. Offensively, the only slight edge New Orleans has is their ability to get to the free throw line. Outside of that, Houston is expected to smother them on both ends of the floor. Even if the Rockets are missing a couple of players, their roster depth and firepower are more than sufficient to handle a Pelicans squad that has been largely ineffective, save for their surprising overtime win against Denver on Sunday. However, without Ingram, Zion, and Alvarado, it's difficult to take New Orleans seriously as a contender in any matchup. By the time their injured players return, it may already be too late for the Pelicans to salvage anything meaningful from this season. While the current spread might seem a bit steep, all signs point to a comfortable Houston victory by double digits. As such, the Houston Rockets to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. In terms of the pace of play, both teams average fewer than 100 possessions per 48 minutes, signaling a slower tempo. Houston's offensive production tends to dip on the road, with fewer points and less efficiency compared to their home performances. Regardless of venue, these two teams rank among the NBA's bottom 5 in true shooting percentage. Defensively, the Rockets should have little trouble containing the league's lowest scoring team. For New Orleans to have any hope, they will need to force Houston into missed shots and limit the Rockets to no more than 6 offensive rebounds, as they managed to do in their last meeting. Playing at home, the Pelicans might be able to prevent Houston from replicating their stellar shooting from last week. Considering these factors, the under is the preferred play for Thursday's total. Therefore, under the projected total is our full game total pick. That's all for now, so if you have any other games you would like reviewed, then leave a comment down below with the game you would like analyzed. Subscribe to our channel, leave a like on this video, and we'll get to it as soon as we possibly can. We would also love to hear your opinion on the picks presented to you in this video, whether you agree or disagree with them, so leave a comment down below and do let us know.